Hey everybody, I figured I would maybe, rather than take 100 photos and try to make diagrams to explain this Rosebud Selvedge, I would just make a quick and dirty video real quick. As you can see, this is the half circle that I have in the photos in the Facebook post this is going to be linked to. This is an example in Mom and Stitch, so that's it's a finished type stitch with one loop on your thumb, two loop behind, and an F2 connection. I like it with super bulky yarn like this. So I've been working this as kind of as you would a normal circle. I'm out to this row, which is 6 normal stitches between every increase. I finished up my last increase right here, so I've got the 3 remaining Selvedge stitches. These always kind of operate outside of what your main body of work is, and it always works kind of nicely. I haven't had to count any of these rows. I just kind of kept in pattern with what was going on. Super cool. The reason it's 3 loops, and I'll point them out in just a second, is because Mom has 3 loops in it, 1 front loop, 2 back loops. You need to have the same number of stitches extra for your Selvedge as there are loops in the stitch you're using, which I'll explain in the post. Right here, it's kind of hard to see because I do pull these tight. As you'll see in a second, I adjust them, but there are 3 loops in fact right here, so I'll count them out for you. 1, 2, 3, and then that goes into our last main stitch, so those are the 3 there. They kind of curve down here. It's a little hard to see on this yarn, but it's not that difficult once you get going. It's real easy to see, like that's where my 3 Selvedge stitches are. So when I come to this, these don't have increases or decreases or anything, so I'm going to make 3 normal stitches real quick. 3 normal Mom stitches. So there's 1. Pick this one up here. Nope, right there. 2. And then my last one, which is down here, which can be a little confusing until you get used to it because it kind of pulls down here. But this is my last one. This is my 3rd Selvedge stitch. Okay. And then once I do that, I'm going to manually retension these. If you're good at freehand or other types of Nalbinding where you adjust the stitches as you go, feel free to do that. I'm just going to adjust my last 2 stitches here. I leave the 3rd one alone, so we're going to go to this guy right here. And you just kind of hold it so it won't cinch too tight. You don't want like a knot, but you want it to kind of like collapse in on itself. You'll feel what that means. And then you just kind of work your way out. This is the same way as you like taper an edge. And then I'm going to pull my tail here, get that kind of snug, and so you can kind of see right there, it just tapers down to probably about needle tension. I'm not going to needle tension with this one because the shape isn't good for it. Okay, so there's that part. And then now you leave this thread up here, you turn your work, and you can see the stitches that you just adjusted right here. Again, this isn't the greatest yarn to do an example of, but you'll get the idea. So what I'm going to do is make a Rosebud start into these 3 Selvedge stitches again. And so I found the easiest way to do that is, so I'm going to put my needle in there. My yarn comes up here. I do thumb, translate how you need to, but I'm going to hold that there and just make 1 loop into that 1st stitch. Okay, so you can see 1st stitch has a loop on it, so I'm going to go to the 2nd one. And what makes this like the Rosebud start is I'm going to stick through all of those and then just make a 2nd loop. And then I need 3, so I'm going to do 1 more. There's my next stitch. And because I'm doing an F2 connection, I kept 2 loops. But anyhow, that goes back under all of these again. And then I pull that through, and then this is my Selvedge stitch, and it gives me the loops that I need to start making Mommin again. And so then this, you don't count these if you are counting stitches. This next one is going to be, so I need to have 1 loop on my thumb, 2 behind, it's a finished stitch. So this is going to count as my stitch number 1 for the row. You just continue your way around. When you get to the other end, you do the exact same process on both sides. It's pretty straightforward. I was worried that it would only work with like this stitch and this yarn, but I did do a couple in a finer gauge, like a worsted weight yarn, and it turned out really super well in my opinion. The edges still look super nice. But because you are, like this is a finished 2 + 3, so the Selvedge is 5 stitches, so it is a little more fanned out, but it does so in a way that I think, again, is still pretty deliberate, and it's not too difficult to pick up stitches in. Actually, it kind of has a nice decorative effect because it makes these kind of nice fans that go into your fabric on, you know, both sides. But yeah, of course, also this can just be done with rectangle pieces. This is one I did here. You can see the kind of fan edging on it. Works pretty darn well, and you can just do square, rectangle, whatever flat edge. This is, again, I was looking at how to do pickups, so ignore that. The should look like this side as well. But yeah, anyhow, that's the Rosebud, what I'm going to call the Rosebud Selvedge until I find somebody else doing something similar. I think it's very cool. I'm excited to finally have something that can make it work flat because there's a lot of shapes and a lot of other projects that could very easily use that. And so I'm excited to finally have something that lets me work a flat row or something back and forth that looks nice, in my opinion.